Okay, folks, I think we can get started. Um, yeah, as all of you know, I'm Sandeep. So I'm joining from Seattle. Um, yeah, I mean, it's been crazy last 3 years, how much things have changed. It feels like a completely different world 3 years, 4 years ago. And LMs have enabled people to do a lot of things. I think as and when new technologies come, it democratizes a lot of uh, otherwise seemingly impossible things to achieve. I think for me personally, like the thing I like most about LLMs is the pace at which I can learn. Uh, the biggest problem that I used to have before is for everyone, I believe, like if you're learning something, the initial steps are like super hard. You need a mentor or you need a textbook and you need very high resolve to get through those initial hurdles so that you are comfortable with something and then actually have impact or make something valuable. Um, I think LLMs have largely made it very easy to do that. You can ask it to explain to you in a very simple manner and get like initial neural structure going on, and then you can do it. Um, so one of the biggest things for me before was whenever I had an idea, it's almost impossible to make a product out of it. I was traditionally like a data scientist. I can code in Python, I can code like a backend, but if I have an idea, like I need to find some person, convince them, make them, it never happens. It's impossible to make a product out of it. But with LLMs, with all these new tools, it's so much easier to create full stack web applications if you just know like some structure of coding. Oh, this is what this does. You don't need to know syntax. You don't need to know exactly what it does. If you have a good mental model of what things are, it's easy to build products. So that's why since all these tools came out and they've become quite good, not like Chat GPT 2.5, these are so much better, and it's it's like pretty much like a kid in a playground. Like you get to do so many things. You get to build prototypes, share it with your friends. So that's what I've been doing. And when I speak to a lot of people, there is still that initial problem to get started with this or get used to this. So that's why I created this session. So you overcome that initial hurdle through me demoing this whole thing. You see, oh, this is what it is. Oh, it's not that difficult. Oh, I can see where I can use that. So you can realize all of this, and it's just 2.5 hours. So that's why I started this. Um, so what we'll do today is, so it's not technically a workshop. So in a workshop, what happens is you kind of do things along with me. Let's say if I'm creating an account and opening and doing something, you will probably do that. And if there are any problems, you're going to ask me questions and I'll help you debug and things like that. But 2.5 hours to build a full stack web application, it's hard. So mostly like look at this session, just see what I'm doing, ask me questions and write down things that you will forget, or in fact maybe I'll record the session and you can see the transcript later. So it's more of that. Just look at what's happening, what's doing, why, and you can ask me questions on why I'm choosing that way. See me debug, see me struggle, uh, see me build the whole app, and then you can take away whatever you want. I think last session someone actually went back and built a full app, finished the full app, and they were so happy that they wouldn't have done it otherwise, because now I think the barrier generally gets reduced once you see all these technologies and initially how I do things. I think we'll get started because we have a lot of people today, and I don't want to. I would rather use all the time, and so we can complete the session. But everyone, welcome. Thanks for being here. I think everyone hit the point right on about what the session is. I think a lot of people, they just see all these tweets or LinkedIn posts around, oh yeah, like this, that, and they feel left out. And to be honest, this is not rocket science. It's quite simple. Like I want you guys to feel that, so that's why I created the session as well. It's very simple. It's very, yeah, easy stuff. So uh, yeah, I hope after the session you feel the same way. So let's look at the agenda. It looks quite long, but it's not actually that much. So first, I'll start off with some of the tools that I use for building these things. Of course, along with the stuff that I wrote in the email, like Lovable, Render, and like Cursor. I'll show some other tools as well. and we'll go through like basic framework of an app, of a web app, like what is front end, what is back end, what is API, what is database, how everything gets connected. And I will also give the demo of my app that I created called Garden Genie. So to kind of like push that framework onto a real product, so you understand, okay, this is how things work, and all that. uh, and then we'll take a break. And after that, we'll start with today's problem statement. Today, we are going to build an app for that tells you if you can bring an item through TSA security. So you just type an item like, I don't know, knife, shampoo, coffee beans, antlers, skateboards, and it will tell you whether you can take it in check-in or carry on. Very simple. Like it's a simple kind of like LLM call. But it's perfect to demonstrate uh, the idea of the app. Yeah, so once we'll start with the front end build, and we'll then do the back end build, and then we'll do the database build. So that's a full stack app right there, front end, back end, and database. And we are not going to go through authentication and payments and all that. That's definitely like, uh, yeah, out of scope. Does that sound good? Any questions? Okay, awesome. Yeah, so let me start with some tools. So I'm sure a lot of people, all of you have some favorite chat app of choice, Claude.ai or ChatGPT or Copilot or Google Gemini. So for me, the app of choice is something called as T3.chat. Um, so I think I mentioned this on LinkedIn all the time. The reason why I really like this, um, is because I get to use every latest model out there. And also it's just $8, not $20 like the other stuff. So it's cheap enough and it's incredibly fast. It's really fast. It's very snappy to use. So as you can see all the latest models. Even the Gemini 2.5 Pro that was released yesterday, I believe the latest, they updated it. So you can, it's there, the Flash models, Sonnet, DeepSeek. You can even see Grok, all the GPT 4.0s, O4s, Llamas, Quen. So it's amazing because like I see like for something simple, very simple questions, I don't want to ask like a big reasoning model and wait for 4 or 5 seconds. So I just use Flash for that. And I know Claude is really good for coding. I always choose Claude for that. And 2.5 Pro is good for kind of like writing kind of tasks or knowledge tasks. So I use 2.5 Pro for that. And of course, it also has this the famous ChatGPT 4.0 image generation. So that's amazing as well. Like I use that to generate, for example, the vibe coding poster for this session. I used a 4.0 mini to generate. And yeah, so every time, so before I used to have Claude subscription, and I used to every time I see people raving about their latest models, I wanted to try them out, but I couldn't because I was kind of logged in. So this is like a good way to do it. Definitely I would highly suggest. It's really fast and you get to be on top of the latest things, and you can I use it enough. I can clearly see the differences between models, even the subtle differences, because I use it as much, and I've been. So I will highly suggest you do this. Of course, it doesn't have proprietary features that these ChatGPTs or Claude AI has, like deep research or maybe OpenAI. I think Claude has like some project mode and all that. It doesn't have that. It only has features that are accessible via API. That's all. So that's the con of it. So the other tool is something called as Open Router. So Open Router is more for backend, or like if you want to use those models using interface, T3.chat is good. But if you want to use those models through an API, so which is what we are going to do, right? When we build an app, we will call these models via API, so we can use this. So it's amazing. Let's say if you want to use OpenAI, you have to go to their website, create an account, create a API key, and find a way like what is the best way to call that API. Same thing for Claude. Everyone is very different, but in this, it's exactly the same. You have the exact same code. All you change is the model name if you want to access a different model, which is amazing. You don't have to create accounts, manage multiple keys. You just have like a single key, for example, like whatever keys I have, and it's pay as you go. there is no subscription. Like how much ever you use, you pay that much. It's kind of like a prepaid SIM card. You pay this much, and then how much ever you use it, that's what it is. And you can set limits on, hey, I just want to use $5 for this key. So it's not like someone hacked your key and they just like bankrupted you or something. So it's really good. I use this. Uh, they're always up, and they also have a lot of free LLMs to use as an API, which is amazing, right? You don't have to pay a single penny to use them, embed them into your product. So pretty much already you are having, all these websites have a good free tier. The only place you would spend money is LLM credits, and you don't even have to do that through Open Router because there are some free LLMs that are good enough. So this is the other tool that I use. Um, and of course, Lovable. Uh, how many of you have seen Lovable.dev, or they've used V0? Okay, I can see like 30% of the people. So Lovable is for, like it's a chat app for creating interfaces. You just chat with it, and it will create interface for you. So this is the app that I created. Like it's a fully functional app. It has authentication and everything. It's called Garden Genie. Like if you have plants in your home, indoor, outdoor, it gets super hard to manage because you don't know when to water it, how to plant it, when to fertilize it, when to prune it. Let's say if you have four plants, then you're screwed. You're already like, hey, it's too much, and you will become a pro at killing them. So that's why I created this app. So all this, like, everything I'm showing, I didn't write a single line of code, including authentication. Um, Nothing. So as you can already see, it looks like a professional app, right? Pretty much. Uh, so yeah, like everything was, the front end was created in Lovable. Backend was all the tools that I said I used. We will use in the email are used for here. For example, if I go like look at apple tree, so it says like, oh, it comes year after year. It needs full sun. It should be planted outdoors. It's great match for your zone, meaning like where I live, it's good to grow this. And it has stuff around like how to take care of it, how to plant it, and like you can have like even indoor plants like the famous monstera, and all of this, which is amazing. Like I can add this. For example, let's say I need to uh, add this fertilizer. I can download like a calendar invite so I don't forget about it. So it's amazing. So I created this in Lovable. Like if you see here, I'll show you the exact. So I start just like speaking to it. If you can, you can actually probably see it at the start. So just by chatting with it, hey, do this, add this. For example, at start, I have like a very good project requirements document, like a very detailed stuff around how the app should be. As you can see, like project goal, user profile, context, what are the screens that are there. Again, all of this I didn't write it. Of course, I didn't write it. I just asked Gemini 2.0 in my T3 chat. I just dumped my thoughts literally. I said, hey, this is what I want. This is what I want with all the spelling mistakes in the world, with no flow whatsoever. And I asked Gemini, hey, can you create I'm creating a website on Lovable. Can you create like a nice prompt for it? So, and it created, and I just put it, and it's there, and it's very clean. All the screens, it's giving like very clean stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, it created, and there were some errors. I told it to correct the errors, and it corrected the errors. And then I said, if you see here, uh, there is some problem, can you do it? And then it's like, yes, it will do it. And then I said again, there is this, I didn't want you to replicate exactly, add this, add that, and then it, okay, it's done. Then there is some error, it fixed itself, and then I said like more edits, and it's doing. So it's amazing, right? So this is the front end. This is how I build the front end. So it will give a nice React based UI, which you can, I mean, if you know React, which I don't, I have no idea what it is. Even now, to be honest, I don't know most of my front end code, but I can technically, so the good thing about Lovable is you can publish it, right? The moment it creates a UI, you click publish, it will automatically, there is an actual app in the website that you can share it with your friends, which is amazing, right? You don't have to worry about, oh, putting it on GitHub, deploying it, like building it, all that, none of it, which is, it's a real pain if you guys have ever done that. So it's already there. You can already share it with your friends. It's amazing. So that's advantage number one. So the advantage number two is after a point of time, right? All these tools, they are not magic. They are magical, but not magic. So you need to understand their limitations. You should not force them. So it kind of like that's why it's more of a vibe coding. You need to vibe with them. You need to understand what their limitations are, what their strengths are. It's like vibing with your friends, right? The reason why you vibe with someone is like like what they are good at and what they are not good at. So it's like that. So yeah, so you need to understand the limitations. So the good thing, the other feature of this product is you can upload it to GitHub directly. You can just say that, hey, this is my GitHub account, and it will automatically create a repository, and it will upload all the files. And what you can do now is you can actually download this into a project in Cursor or VS Code or wherever you use your AI. And Cursor is much better at making changes, more complicated changes. So if the front end is not able to make those changes, you can do the changes here. You can if you are really interested, you can go and change the code if you are proficient. Or you can do much more things. You can ask, hey, can you explain me the entire code database? Because after a point, it got like really complex, and I wanted to understand what changes it's making. So I asked it, hey, explain everything. What does the file do? Not like every line because I don't want to know, but if I understand the kind of like, like onboarding is here. Okay, adding plans happens here. Okay, I got it. Oh, instructions are stored here. Okay, I got it. So Cursor is really good at that. And Cursor is also good at adding much more complex features. So the front end, the Lovable is not good. So I add more complex features here. And then I push it to GitHub. And as soon as I push it to GitHub, you can see like I recently added some like zip code, whatever. It will immediately sync here. So you will see here like after a point of time, it was getting hard for me. It's not able to understand stuff. So then I moved the workflow to Cursor, and once see it's all like these are all the PRs that I uploaded from Cursor. So it's syncing them, and once it syncs, it will sync immediately, like it's instantaneous, and then I can just publish it, and it's live now. Again, I don't have to worry about building it and deploying it and all that. So this does for me. So that's the reason it's kind of like a two-way sync between GitHub and Lovable. That makes it really good. Yes, Christina.
Can you give an example of how what does complex mean in terms of like what you cannot do in the UI that you have to like do it in the back end?
uh, so I think you can technically do everything in here, but Cursor, their entire USP is like they're created for hardcore programming, right? Whereas the Lovable folks, their USP is not really, it's for like simple websites. It's not really for really complex projects. So if you see Lovable's competitor, it's called V0, which means version 0. So the whole point of these things are to get you started, not really to go complex, So sometimes it goes in loops. So after a point of time, once you start using Cursor, you find it so effective that you don't want to come back to this. Uh,
Got
but
it. Yeah.
but for V0, Cursor is not as good. I think this is really great at like the initial steps and making small UI changes. It's really good. Cursor is good for much more feature sweeps. So if you see like I think I added like okay, changing some icon and you creating a demo mode, like this entire mode where you don't even have to sign up for people to see. So it's a much more complex feature that this front end is. That's not a front end thing. It's more of a back end thing to add new features. Yes, Amar.
Got it. Thank
I'm curious, how do you do checkpointing and rollback if there is any problem?
Awesome. That's a good point. If you see here, like you can go to any point in your and you can click on restore. So the moment you click on restore, it will go back to the checkpoint and it will push the changes to GitHub. It will sync it to GitHub immediately, and you can pull them in Cursor, and it will go to the checkpoint.
How about in cursor? Like because we are doing two different things in two different places, so I'm
Yes,
curious how you would
that's
do that.
a that's a very good question. So in Cursor, I try to always push my changes as soon as I finish a feature. So I make sure I commit it or I push it to master. If I am going somewhere and it's not really like it's not going whatever, I stash the entire changes. Start again with a clean slate of my previous commit, and then do different words. Otherwise, actually cursor has, for example, let's say, like there is this something here I was making changes. Let's find some other like bigger one. So something like this, like some search features. So inside cursor, you can restore checkpoints. So let's say it's making some changes and it's like you know that it's you are just like going in a loop now. You're not understanding what I mean, but it has already made like ton of changes. You can always go back to the checkpoint and start with new prompt. The other suggestion I would give is in cursor when you are chatting with cursor. We will go through all of this, by the way. You don't have to be intimidated by this. It's all
Okay.
very simple. So yeah, so for every new feature or new thing, I always start a new chat, because you don't want to confuse it. Uh, Again, a lot of these things, the only thing is you have to use them as much as possible and see like how you are feeling. Like it's personal preference, what it's giving you. You need to find your style of how to use these apps. Uh, so that's the Lovable. It creates a front end. You want to make more changes, you can make changes, but what about backend? So so the way I think about these is, sorry. So this is how a full stack web app is. So you have a front end in React, which is built and hosted with Lovable. But if you want some functionality, for example, in the case of Garden Genie, I was asking like all these instructions, right? I mean, this cannot be created by a front end. There is some service in the backend that is giving, when I say Monstera, it's giving me all these things. Like an LLM is generating all these things. So where is all that logic happening? So there should be some logic, right? Oh, like tell me whether it's perennial or not. Tell me whether it needs light or not. Tell me whether it's indoor or outdoor. Like what should be in the spring? How should I plant it? What month should each care instruction be? So all that logic has to sit um, in a backend. So I am comfortable with Python, so that's why I write my backend in Python. Backend again, because it's much more deterministic, right? It's literally like you give something, you get it back. It's like a function. So you need to put that in a language, if you know, in the language that you're comfortable with. So so that again, the backend is built with cursor. And all that logic, if you send a request to an LLM saying, or any API request, so it has to be hosted somewhere. So we host it in something called as render. All it is a Python file that is always on. You can literally host it in your laptop if you want. Create a Python kind of like a server, and it will do it. But render is a really really good one. So all it is, so there is a file that we would have put somewhere, like again, this is also like a GitHub repo, and inside GitHub there is literally a Python file. So that's all it is. It's a big file. Again, I didn't write a single line of it. So it's all like LLM calls, and that's all. So that file is being hosted inside render, and whenever from your front end you make a call, or like when you make a request, it will go run that file, get output, and display it in your in your front end. And you also might need database, because let's say I got this Monstera instructions. I mean, I can get it from API every time, but I don't need to. If I added Monstera to my garden, and then Amar adds as well, then I don't need to call a LLM all over again. I can just store it in a database and just retrieve it from database. I don't need to do it all over again. So that's why we need database, and for database we are gonna store stuff in Supabase. I'll show you it. It's very simple. Supabase, it has tables. It's called Postgres database. So what we'll do whenever we make an API call, we will change the backend saying that, hey, first check the database. If it's available already, don't make any LLM calls. Just retrieve it and send it. But if you don't find it, then make a new call.
The one you just showed, a render application where you can host your web app, right? So
Yeah.
Lovable does that, right? So is that a different
So
what
Lovable
is
does not. I mean, yes, that's a good question, because technically, right, React Can you see my cursor screen?
Yes.
So React is writing like TypeScript files. Technically, you can have your backend right here. You can have like a front end folder, backend folder, and it can all be hosted by Lovable uh, through Vercel hosting. But the reason I have it separate is backend is something that I feel I need much more control of. So that's why I wrote it in Python, uh, because I can understand Python and I can make tweaks to it. I can make changes if need be. But technically, to be honest, I didn't really do write any code myself. But that's why I have it in Python. And Python backend, you cannot host it in Lovable. You need a separate host for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Lovable doesn't have a feature to open up the code, and I mean, you give prompts and it does changes, and you can see them on the um, uh, whatever UI screen and stuff. It doesn't have an option to view your changes via the code, is it?
Yeah,
On
I
Lovable.
think the code changes are read only, but you need like a pro plan to
Okay.
edit it right here and refresh it and all that.
Okay. Okay.
But believe me, you're never gonna see the screen.
Oh, I understand. Yes.
At least I don't. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Once the code is generated, it is too hard unless you do
yeah.
not get the solution from the prompts, right? So you
Yes.
don't need to go there at all. So
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. The other thing about Lovable is if you know for sure that you want to modify like some certain element, you can actually go and click on that edit and make changes. I think that's a pro version. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, we are actually track on time, surprisingly. So that's good. Um, so yeah, let me quickly show you how Supabase looks like. So Supabase is where we have all our database. For example, for Garden Genie, all the tables are stored here. Everything you see on the website front end, they are stored somewhere. Uh, if you see here, like plant, fiddle leaf fig, and what it is, everything that you're seeing in the display, it has to be stored somewhere, right? It's not magic that it disappears. So Supabase is our storage for that. Like care instructions, uh, zones or calendar events, or which user has what plants in their garden and all of that. And uh, and if you see the whole database, like it takes you back to your undergrad course of database creation, foreign key, primary key. Again, I did not do any of this. It's all LLM. I didn't even create like the structure. I asked, hey, these are the things that I want to store. This is how I envision my app to be. Can you create a database for me? And it created. And all I did was just I used MCP. I will show you actually what it is. I used MCP to create, and if I want to make changes as well, I use MCP to make changes. I never go here and like change it or any of that. I will show that to you. Amar, you had a question?
Yeah, I was gonna ask how did you come up with the schema, but you mentioned that you used
Yeah.
but how detailed did you have to be in your instructions for this to be, generated?
So when you start with an idea, right, it's very hard to kind of have the whole app in your imagination. Yeah, as you are building is when you will realize, oh, I forgot about that, or I didn't know about that. So
Hmm.
there are two ways you can do this. One is have a whiteboard, don't start coding, just keep writing down for 1 week, 2 weeks, just write down every thought that you get on a whiteboard or a note or whatever that is. Then you will have like a good structure and put all that structure into Gemini and ask it, hey, this is what I want to create. Can you create a database structure? What should I store for it? And you will be amazed that it will suggest you some more things. Hey, you can even store this. Why don't you do that? And I've actually I really like that. Or you start with your basic idea, but the problem with that is going to be you're going to struggle because if you want to change something, then you have to change bunch of things,
Yeah,
and you need to start from scratch again. It's again depends on the style and how you want the motivation to continue. Uh,
makes
yes.
sense.
Okay. Yeah, we will actually create a database for the TSA app today. So we'll do all of this. Um, In fact, I had to delete my one of my other service that I created because in the free I only have 2 projects, so I had to delete my entire app so that I can demo this. So um, okay, so let's start with the TSA app. You can play around along with me if you wish. You don't need to, but you can open Lovable, sign in and try along with me if you want. So this is clear, right? There is a front end, there is a back end. If you want to display something on front end, you make an API call to the back end. Back end gives you some response and you will display it. And if you don't want to keep incurring the LLM costs or whatever API costs, you keep storing it in database. And it's faster as well to retrieve from database than to make an actual call to some service. Yeah, so today problem statement is build a web app that tells you if you can bring an item through TSA security. So this is again a USA specific problem, I guess, for those joining from India. So every time in when you go through security check in US, there are so many restrictions on what you can take and what you can't take. For example, you can take frozen water, but you can't take water, which is weird. Uh, and you can take shampoos, but it should be within like 60 ml or some 3 ounce rules. You can take battery, but it has to be within this capacity. You can take coffee, like so. So the good thing is TSA has like for every item you can think of. You can see here aerosol, airbrush makeup machine, every item you can think of, there is a page for it, whether you can take yes or no. And something like this is general, I would say knowledge, right? Which LLM is probably very good at. These are the kind of things that you ask LLMs when you're traveling. You ask, hey, can I take, I don't know, electric skateboard or something? Uh, can I take this big battery pack that I have? Is there any restrictions? LLM is really good at that to answer things like this. So it's a very good app to kind of like make. Uh, so we'll start with the front end. So I'm going to go to Lovable. Where is it? Yeah. Uh, so we'll go to Lovable again. So you don't technically need to write like the most perfect prompt. But if you want a perfect prompt, you can go and ask something like this. Okay, like you can say, I'm creating an, sorry, upon Lovable. It's a TSA check app, which when I input item, it will tell me whether I can take it through TSA. This is all too much. Let me use voice. Security through check-in or carry on, and it will also give me description of why I should and should not carry it. Can you create a nice prompt? I only want front end. Don't worry about backend and API calls for now. Just give me some mock data. Yeah, so I'm using like dictation software uh, called as like I think so it's much faster. I don't have to sit and type, to be honest. It's so much better when I'm using cursor. All is it's just so much easier. Dictation I feel today is a solved problem. We don't have to sit and type. It's so nice to just speak and get all you want. Yeah, you can either do this or you can just let's see what the difference is. So let's go to Lovable. Let me not say I'm creating an app. I'll say create a TSA check app. That's all. Let's see what it does. So let's see the prompt. If you see, it's a nice prompt. It's giving me too much, to be honest. It's giving me the whole app. I don't want the whole app. I just want a prompt that I can input in Lovable. Saying it will create the whole TSA app. Nice. So there are generally questions on how much prompt helps in these. Uh, it depends. I am seeing more and more prompts don't matter as much as they used to before for coding tasks or general knowledge tasks. But for images, they matter a lot to create a good image. So that's why before I used to be make sure that I create a prompt in an app, but now I don't. I just type whatever I want, and it's really good at understanding. It's again giving me structure and all of that. To be honest, we don't need it. I think this is not good. Let me not use that. It's not understanding Lovable, I guess, because Lovable doesn't use HTML, CSS, and all that. I mean, it uses. Yeah, so it created something. Let's see if it is good. Okay, TSA check. Know something. Okay, try searching for stuff. Search your item. View TSA regulations. This is nice. Let's say laptop. Nice. It's showing. Carry on. Check bag. And it's giving some stuff. That's good. Perfume. It's saying must be whatever. Must be this. This is good. If I say like something like antlers. Of course, it's not found because right now all the data it's retrieving is from mock data that it wrote by itself. So of course, if I put something like skateboard or something, it's not going to do. That's what we have to do in the backend. But for stuff that is already here, it's already. This is nice, right? Good enough front end to start with. If you want changes, you can make. Sorry. For example, let me say. So let's say if I want to remove this disclaimer, all I say is remove this. And it will do that. And it will refresh here, right? Immediately. So in the meanwhile, you can technically publish it. And this website will show up on carry on clarity.guide.lovable.com. It's updated. So let me see. Can I see? Yes, it's live in an instant, which is amazing. So this is the power of Lovable that I really like. Now you can actually share it with your friends. So I go back, it said that yes, I've removed the footer. Can I see it? Yes, it's removed here. I refresh it, it's removed, but if I go to the website, uh, it will still be there. The disclaimer is still there. So what I need to do is I actually have to publish the changes. And then if I technically go to the website, it will be gone. So it's updating. Let me open the website now, and it should be gone. See, the disclaimer is not there anymore. Now I go back and I want the disclaimer, like it's good to have a disclaimer. So let's restore it back. So I just click on restore. And so that's the checkpoint, Amar, that you were speaking about. This is the way we can use. It's already done. It's restored to that checkpoint. I see the disclaimer is back. If I go to this app, it's not going to be back because I didn't update my project. So I just update it and then it will be back. So that's the front end. And you can make some changes. For example, so this is the website I used for creating this event, right? So I can give some screenshots of this. Uh, oops. I'm finding it hard to take a screenshot of. Come on. Okay. Let me take some screenshots of this. So I'm just taking some screenshots to give it so that I can get in the style of that website, basically. Okay. So I can go back. This is good, but I want to change the style. Can you change it to the style of the website loo.ma? Oops, that's not the loo. We'll just say Luma. And to help it, I will give some, let me see. I'll give those screenshots. I don't know where this. I don't know what I did. I know why there is this edit button. Okay, that's bad. Oh, this is from Zoom, I believe. Okay, let me attach some images. So I added the screenshots. I'm just saying, just change the style. So these are the screenshots I used. I really like this kind of like sci-fi style idea, like whatever this color scheme. So I just said like make it a little bit more fun. Any questions here?
I did. So the data behind this is limited, is what you mentioned. Did you have to like prompt like what data or does it figure it out to just like get like
Yeah,
limited data?
yeah, it figures it out. If you see here, I just said use some mock data. Just give me some mock data, something like that.
Got it.
And you didn't even have to use the prompt that you got from Gemini.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Gemini really sucked at it, to be honest, maybe. So the other cool thing about this app, the T3.chat is can you see my screen still? So you just click on retry option, and then you just go and select the model. Let's say I want to use, and it will generate answer for the same prompt with a different model, which is amazing. Yeah, if you see, this is a much better prompt than what Gemini gave. So I would have used this. I would have saying like, hey, this is the app that I want to create a modern user-friendly TSA security app. These are the features, these are the requirements. It's much more structured. But for yeah, I mean, you technically didn't need this for this simple app. Oh, it's a little weird. I mean, it imitated, but it's okay, I guess. It's blending into the. Okay, I don't like it. I'm gonna go back. So let me go back. I'll restore it. So looks like the first one shot was zero shot, or one shot was good enough for this, I guess. So okay, it's restored. I'm already at 2 free credits here. Um, yeah, so let's publish it. So this is called a two-way sync. Let's connect project to my organization. It will create. It's done. Now it's there in the GitHub. You can see all that info. Uh, so let's open cursor, open a new folder, 25, TSA frontend, session 2. Let's open it. Where is this? So this is the thing. So I can start. So how many of you have used cursor before? Okay. Yeah, cursor is getting like really, really good. Someone had a question?
No, sorry, I just said I used cursor before.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's getting super good. They just released their version 1.0, which is like a one major version. So they have like so many cool features. It's just good. So most of the times you open cursor, create an app. On the right side, there is this toggle AI pane, and this is your bread and butter. You can choose your model. I have pro subscription, so I can see all the models. So I like Claude 4 Sonnet for Claude 4 is really good at code, and I always keep it in agent mode. Agent mode basically is it will, if it has questions, it will ask you. If it can do something, it will do it by itself. So I always keep it in agent mode. It's really good now. Before, people, when they didn't want it to make edits, they would keep it in ask mode. They will chat with it, brainstorm with it, and only then make edits. But nowadays, it's really good at understanding whether you want to chat with it or whether you want it to make edits. So I just keep it in AM mode. I just say, okay, you know, get this repo. I don't even have to know any Git commands. I just say like, yeah, just get this. Amar?
How much of whatever you did with Lovable can be done directly in Cursor? Like, could you just give the detailed prompt that you had from T3 into Cursor and get things started right away in Cursor, or do you have to do Lovable?
You can do it in Cursor. I think Cursor is getting really good. But I would still say Lovable is slightly better. But you can do it in Cursor. But again, the reason why I use Lovable is for hosting. The one-click
Yeah.
buttons and the one-click website. That is very hard to do it in Cursor.
Okay.
So yeah, so I don't even remember the GitHub keychain password. Is it? Oh yeah, I think it's trying to clone it as me. But now, yes. So I didn't even have to run the git clone. It just got it. It's all here. Like it's amazing. Now, if I want to make changes, I can make changes here. So this GitHub is here. So let's say, let's try to make a change. Um, I'll say same thing. Can you remove the disclaimer? So let's see if it finds. So it's planning the next moves. It's like, oh yeah, it's trying to search in the directory where the disclaimer is. It's looking, and then it's starting with index.html, and it's reading it, and it's reading more and more stuff, and it's searching for disclaimer related content. It's searching. Let's see if I would have given the exact text, it would have been easier. But because I gave it like a code, like hey, check disclaimer, it's trying to see. So let's see if it will find. Yes, it found a disclaimer. Perfect. That is what it is. And it's saying, let me remove the disclaimer for you. It's doing, and it made the change. I have to, and it found some lint error. It's saying, hey, I found lint error. Let me, unrelated to this, seem to be existing TypeScript, likely before our edit and don't affect the functionality of removing. Okay, cool. Let me accept it. And the changes are live. It changed index.tsx. So I'll go to the terminal. I can add and commit it, but I can ask it, can you push changes to GitHub? Let's see if it does. I am comfortable enough to work with GitHub. So technically, if this wasn't demo, I would have done it manually. But looks like, let's see what it does. It's like, okay, I will add the changes, commit them and push them. Okay. I don't know. Ashish, do you use GitHub commands as a PM?
Not often. Only if
So
I have to review something, but not directly. Yeah, but I do review PRs on a basis there.
Okay. But this is good for you. Like if you forgot the commands, you can just click accept, 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 I guess. Uh, I just say deny and it's going to push it as my laptop, I guess. Did it do? Not a Git. Okay. Yeah, looks like it committed, but the best way to do is go and check here. Looks like it did. If I see like PRs that are, I don't know if it created a PR or just my. So yeah, you can see like remove disclaimer from footer. So it made changes to here. Now let's go to Lovable. See, the change I made in cursor is synced here. Now if I publish it, it's published. Now if I open the app, it's removed. So this is the power that I really like. Two-way sync between cursor and Lovable. It's immediate hosting for me and building for me. Okay, I don't want that change. So what I'll do is I'll restore. So it's back here. It's restored. Okay, it's restored back, and I'll publish again. And inside cursor, I will ask pull changes from GitHub. Sharon?
Yeah, the restore feature that is there in Lovable, does it work like reverting a commit in our Git?
Yes,
Uh,
exactly. Yeah.
so, will that handle the conflicts and stuff? Like, say you restored
Mm.
three commits before. I
Yeah.
mean, commit that was there three commits before. So,
So that's why
will that
what I do is as soon as I come to cursor, I pull the changes. So now
No,
it,
not the sync between the Lovable and Cursor, the
okay.
progress you made in Lovable. Just in Lovable itself, say you added three features,
Okay.
maybe one an increment over the other. Like you made a feature and you requested an upgrade on that or something.
Okay.
So it will create a checkpoint here.
Yeah.
So if say restore for some checkpoint that was there like three steps before. So
Yeah. Yeah, it will. I don't think there is a conflict. It will have it will be if it is working, then it should work. There won't be much conflict. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so that's our front end. We are done. Front end is done. So we are almost good. We are almost halfway through. I think we still have time in this session. Let's start with basic backend. Okay. So in our part, we are done with this. Front end is built and hosted on Lovable. We iterated it with Cursor. Of course, if it's a much more complex project, you will do many more iterations. Now we need to build this one. We need to build the backend in Python because technically we still, if we type something like coffee, we still don't get any results. So for this to make it work, we will have to we'll have to do it in backend. Satish?
Hey Sandeep, so just quick question. So you started with T3 chart, generated prompt there, and then you put that into Lovable, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so why do you prefer this workflow instead of directly just asking Lovable to give you generate an app for you?
So here, I mean, at least the one that we did today, we didn't really put the prompt that T3 chat generated. We just like if you see here, like it's from basic whatever stuff. But if you see here, right? So when you ask a LLM to create a prompt, it's much more better, as in it's much more detailed. For example, you see here, like, hey, have clear visual icons for carry on, whether allowed, prohibited, or conditional. And it should be like easy to read typography. It needs to have detailed explanation. There needs to be like quick category. So like a lot of it enhances your prompt or the idea. And it's easier instructions for Lovable to follow than whatever you wrote. Uh, but that's what I said. I before I used to see a lot of difference between when you prompt with basic whatever and use LLM generated prompt. But these days it's getting so good that you technically don't need to.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's take a break. I guess we have like 8 minutes left in this, but um, any questions? I think we'll once after the break we'll start with the backend. So this is as far as
I
we
have a
got in the
question.
last session. Actually, we couldn't really get into building the backend. So you guys are lucky.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes, Sandeep.
Yes.
So imagine a scenario where a team is working and you just click one click and it got published, but in a team that's supposed to not happen, somebody should authenticate that workflow,
Yeah.
that change. So does it have any control of that?
In Lovable, let me see. Um,
Like imagine like
yeah.
you and me are working, you are,
Yeah.
owning the entire app and I make some change, but that needs to be reviewed or something like that. In a typical project, right? We do. So does it have that much mechanism or
Technically, what
something
we would
like that?
have to do is we need to push the changes to a different branch than the main, so
Hmm.
that you can create a PR and they can review and you can merge and publish. I don't think they do. I maybe pro version because you can actually have multiple people working on it, collaborate on it. So I don't know if pro version has that feature, but I don't think this is created for that. I don't know if you can actually push it to a different branch. But if that is there, I think um, let's see quickly. Sorry, where is it?
No, they have a Teams version, like the third one, where if you want to collaborate with
Oh,
others and
okay.
do something,
Yeah,
like
maybe it is there, but to be honest, I think like this is just for initial versions, like I mentioned. So use it just for like version 0, version 1, but then you should start developing in Cursor so you can do all of that.
As long as you're able to publish to a different branch in GitHub,
Yeah,
yes, you could do version control with GitHub.
yes, that's correct. Yeah. Yeah, here I'm not, I didn't really see like where I could connect to a different branch, but looks like I can't. Maybe the paid version has it. Amar, you had a question or?
No, that was I just
Okay.
wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah, this is an actual website. It's not really preview.
So the domain name it creates,
Yeah,
they kind of it's a free domain
yeah.
and stuff, right? So and it's
Oh,
technically probably owned by Lovable, I think.
yeah. It's on. It's a subdomain under Lovable. But if you really want, you can actually add a custom domain. You can pay. It's a paid feature, and you can connect your domain. Uh, or because it's actually on GitHub because all the code is on GitHub and you own it because it's in your GitHub. Uh, so you can use I think Vercel and inside this you can actually add like a repository and you can connect. So for example, there are like so many apps that that I made. uh, so yeah, so you can add your repo for where is it? TSA. Okay, you can add it and you can deploy it through Vercel as well to your own repo if you want. Someone raised a question.
Yeah. I just had a general question, once the website is ready, right, fully functional, who is taking care of the bandwidth? Let's say suddenly, you get 1,000 visitors, right?
Yeah,
So who is taking care of the server
yeah.
bandwidth?
So that's
Who is
why I
that?
think you have to once you are done, you
Okay.
yeah. So if you are putting it in Lovable, of course, if it has 10,000 users, I'm sure it will break. They will say like, hey, we're going to shut you down. That's why you have to put it in some deployment. This is where I think once it becomes serious, right? Of course, you can't. It's not play anymore. That's when you have to start getting. You need to look at security issues. You need to look at it. Like it gets much more serious. So
Yeah.
then you can actually put this in something like Vercel, which is a deployment environment. You can connect your own. You can connect your own domain, and then you can start worrying about. Even in render, you can start paying pro for them. You can upgrade to pro and they will
Okay.
handle many more requests and it will grow serverless and all that. And
Got it.
same thing with Supabase, you can do pro and it will be always live and all of that. These are all like all these technologies are definitely serious technologies. They're not for just small hobby side projects with 10 users. There are hundreds of thousands of users, uh, websites that have those many users there as well.
Got it. Thanks, Sandeep.
Yeah. Okay, let's actually build the backend. Um, So again, the reason why I'm building it in Python and not in TypeScript is I personally feel I need a little bit more control on backend because it's much more logic. There is API costs involved and all of that. And I'm comfortable a little bit with Python. So I will, again, I'm not reading line by line. I'm not editing the code, but it's just a psychological feeling that I have that I'm in control. That's all it is. Or if there is any troubleshooting, I can understand what the problem is at least. If there is something that's completely going wrong and if it throws an error, because I've seen Python errors for like a decade, I can understand, oh, this is what it's wrong, and it'll give me a way to prompt out of it. That's why I'm doing the backend in Python. So for for this, um, so I already had like the prompt, but the reason why I made it is like if I can prompt it again and get answer again, but even if it is slightly different, I don't want to falter. So that's why I am keeping it. It's again, the prompt is very simple. So I want to create a fast API. All we want is an API at the end of the day, which is an API that will take item as the input and it will return yes or no for check-in and carry on and some description. So I'm using something called as Fast API. It's again, it's a framework. If you don't put it, I'm sure it will pick Fast API. But I specified it's easy to use, but you don't need to know what API framework to use. I say like, okay, I want to do it and host it on render. Let's say I don't even know how to host it because now it's not really like clicking on update button or clicking on this thing. Now it's hosting. It's a little more serious. So and host it on render, the API will get item as input and return whether that item can be taken in CSA, carry on, check-in, and description. I want to use Open Router API. This is for my LLM call. So I'm telling I want to use Open Router. And what are the steps? This is not a crazy prompt. It's a very simple prompt. The entire functionality is described in a very simple sentence of the entire backend. So let's see what it does. It says, okay, that's good. So let's start with the setup, create an open router account, which I already did, sign up and add some credits. I already did. And copy, create an API key. I think I showed that to you, right? When you go and you can create a key and set limit for each API and you can copy the API. So that's already done. Uh, Create an account in Render. Yes, I did. Sign up using your GitHub. Okay, a free tier will be perfect. Nice. I already did that. Now it's saying, okay, set up a local environment. Stop me at any time you don't understand something or you want to ask questions. Set up local environment. Ensure you have Python 3.8 plus installed. Ensure you have Git installed. Create a new directory and navigate to it. Let's do that. So it's saying, so let's go to cursor. Let's create a new folder. I'll say TSA backend, create it, and I'll open it. It's here, that's nice. Let's see. Okay, it's already, I think we are inside the folder already, so it's fine. Now it's saying in Mac OS or Linux, Python 3, it's asking us to create a virtual environment. Okay, so let's copy and I don't want to do all of that. So let me just ask, hey, just do this. I'm not even asking it anything. I just pasted some code and it's like, okay, I'll help you do that. It's like, this guy is so lazy. He can't even type it in terminal and is typing it in a chat box. It's like, okay, cool. So it's all done. It's all there. It's activating it. Perfect. It's activated. All of that is good. Now, local development, building the API. So it's saying like install all of this. Okay. So let me see if, so there is virtual environment that's created here. So just give me a second. Okay, let's see terminal. Oh, activated. Okay, so this is where I think again, it's on your comfort level, right? If you are using purely cursor to do it, you will find some errors. You need to go and ask what that error is, understand. But I am comfortable creating virtual environments and doing some GitHub pushes. So I directly use it because I don't want to deal with it not finding something or it throwing some errors. So I generally start doing this right here. This is where I think the personal preference comes in. But if you don't want to do all of that, you technically don't have to go and mess with terminal. You can just chat with, as you see, it's doing everything already. But I am much more comfortable here. So let's see, like pip install, all of that. Let me do that. I'm just typing it. I hope it's there already. Yeah, it is activated, I believe. Okay. And then saying the project structure should look like this. TSA API, environment, GitHub, main requirements.txt. So which is not the case. So let me just say this. Let me just copy paste. So this is not the same folder name. So I'm just removing it so it doesn't get confused. So it's saying, okay, let me create all those files. Yes, it's doing all of that. And it's saying like, okay, create a file name .env and add your open router API key. Okay, it's doing all of that. Okay, it's creating main file, GitHub, git ignore, all of that. Let's accept everything. Yeah, Amar?
I'm curious why use Open Router if you already have a T3, which is already also giving you API keys.
T3 doesn't have API keys. It's just a chat interface. It doesn't have API. You cannot use API calls.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, it doesn't have dot. It didn't really create .env. Did I tell it to create? Yes, I did, but it didn't. I don't know why. So let's tell it. Oops, sorry, stop. We can just say .env. .env is basically environmental variable because let's say if you put your key and upload it to GitHub, people can scrape it and use it. But if you store it inside a .environmental file, it's not going to upload it to GitHub. So this is where the security stuff comes in. Uh, this is where the security stuff comes in, and you can like once your stuff gets serious, you can ask it to review for security. There are more tools for that. So it's checking, yes, is it there? Yes, it's there. .env is there. So let's create a key. Let's create a new key actually. There is open router, keys, create a key. I'm gonna put $0.5. You can use this if you want. No problem. So yeah, so I put the key. Now let's go and see what the next steps are. Create a .gitignore file and put this. Okay, it's already created. I am putting it. So you can, by the way, so that's what I mean. You can always like keep doing that with chat here. You technically don't even need to know what .gitignore is and all of that. And write the API code main.py. Okay, I'm gonna copy it. Main.py. I'll put all of that. Nice. Generate requirements.txt. Okay, I will do pip freeze requirements.txt. Okay. Run and test locally. Let's run it locally. It's saying that do this. Let me run it. There is something. Oh, Error loading app not found in module main. Open your, it's saying like it should not, that's not a problem. Main app. Why is that?
Doesn't look like you saved the files.
Oh, okay, let's save it. Let's not do anything. Oh yeah, that's good catch. Let's see. There is some errors.
There are other files as well, .env and all. Those have been saved maybe.
I think everything generally okay. One save. Okay. Okay. Fail to save the contents of file is newer. Please compare with the version. Okay. Save 10 times. Oh, it's missing.
You would have to use it as a in quotes or something. The API key should be in quotes.
No, I
Quotes.
think not really. It should not be in quotes. Okay. Let's. So I killed that terminal and created a new terminal. Created. Oops. I don't know why I did that. Let's run again. So this is the not so fun part, and this will happen much more than you generally expect. Yes, it's running now. I think it was saving that was the problem, and now it's here. So it's running here. Okay, welcome to TSA. This is the API, and it's saying, let's go back. And yeah, if you want, go to interactive documentation at this. Yes. So let's try to check an item. So it's doing all of that. So if I actually go to the main file, try to understand what's happening, it's doing a bunch of stuff. It's trying to load some things, and it's creating an API called TSA Item Checker API, and it has some bunch of stuff I don't know. And here is where the prompt is to the LLM. So you're an expert assistant specializing in TSA. Your task is to determine whatever, and you should return output in JSON format, and that JSON should have carry on, check back, description. For example, if the item is laptop, it should do this. For if dynamite, carry on, false, description, no, you can't. And it's doing, and it's creating a API endpoint called as check item. And this is where I think it's using Mistral LLM. It's you see here. I didn't even have to give it like a code for how to use Open Router. It knows because it's memorized everything. So it's using Mistral 7B instruct. It's saying it's using it because it's a good, fast, and cheap model. Amazing for me, and it's doing a bunch of stuff. And it's like this is the message. So let's go here. Let's check something. Can you guys give me where is it? Try it out. Okay. Can you guys tell me an item? Some item.
Rice cooker.
Maybe perfume.
Rice cooker seems that. Okay, rice cooker. Execute. Saying false. You can't take it in carry on. You can take it in check bag. Rice cookers are allowed in check bag only. Due to safety concerns, they are not allowed in carry on. That's good. So it's working locally. The code is working locally. This is all local, by the way, if you see 127. Now let's go back. I am not using my brain a lot. So yeah, now phase 3 is preparing for deployment on render. Okay. Render needs a few things to know how to build and run your project. Create a build script. Render can run a shell script to set up your project. Create a file name build.sh. So I will just say, copy this, and I'll put it on cursor. So this is where I think this is good. Now let's start a new chat. So this is where you need to, it's a new thing. Let's start a new chat. Always do that. You can give files to context, but this is small enough. So let's not give any context. I'm just going to paste that. Let's see if it does. It's like bash. It's doing that. I'll create bash for you. It's building and it's right here. So let's accept it and let's save it. Let's go back. Now it's saying make this script executable. Okay, let me run in a terminal. Okay. Determine the start command. Render needs command to start. The start command will be something like this. Okay, it didn't tell me to do anything. Gokul, you had a question?
Yeah, could you just show the prompt that generated this output in T3.chat just here in the same?
Yeah. All it is I want to
Okay.
create a fast API and host it on render.
Okay.
Can
Yeah,
you
got it.
copy that and put it in the chat, Sandeep, if that's okay?
Oh, this one?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
I
thank
don't
you.
know where it chat. Okay. So now onto the render part. It's saying, okay, start command will be something like this. Okay. So render deploys directly from a Git repository. So you need to do this. Let me do that. I'll do all of that. It's like, okay, this is not found because that's not my username. So let me find my username. Okay, that's my username. So that should all be this. Remote origin already exists. Why is that? Okay, it's already there, I guess. Okay, let's put something else. TSA API 2 or something. Oh, TSA checker API 2. Remote origin already exists. Why is that? Let's see. Let's go to my repo. No, it's not there.
I think it still took your username instead of like your name.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Like, and now it's fine. It should work, I guess.
Oh, okay. Oh, it was probably doing that.
Yeah.
Let's ask it the error. So I believe we messed up because when we entered with your username and I think it created a local something like local remote reference called your username and it messed it up, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe we can just do line by line.
Yeah, that's what I think. Fix the Git remote repository issues. Okay. I think I need to set the upstream to, I wanted to set the upstream to this. It's like there is an existing remote origin that needs to be updated. Let's see this. Now let's verify the remote URL has been corrected. Okay. Perfect. It's now stream. Now let's run. Will it push? Now it's saying not found. So oh, okay. There's a problem. Let's create the actual repo. So repositories, new. Now it will probably find public. Don't do anything. Create a repo. Okay. Now let's run again. Yes, now it's done. So let's look at it. There are some brands, there are stuff. Okay, all that stuff is here. Git ignore, there's this, everything is good. Okay. Now let's go back to T3 chat. Now I can actually see initialized Git and push it to GitHub. I should have made, like I didn't really create this repo before I asked it to push it to it. So that's why it all messed up. Um, Now deploying it to render. Go to render. Nice. I think let's see if we can deploy it within 10 minutes. So, okay, going to render dashboard. Let's create a new project. This is a web service, Postgres. I think it's a web service. Yes, it's a web service. You can ask it, of course, like you can ask a follow-up question to T3 chat. Oh, it said it's a web service. Connect your GitHub. Let's go connect your GitHub. TSA. Or I can just give it the link. Let me give it a link. It's there. Select a project. Let's call it. Okay, or no project, whatever. Optional. Python. Let's go and see what all it's doing. Select the repository, click connect. Fill in the deployment settings. Name, main branch Python 3, build.sh, Oregon West main. Okay. Build command, build.sh. So we'll just put it. And start command. Let's see if it has start command. Yes, it has. So let's copy paste it. Okay, everything let's do free. Free will have, like, of course, free will be, there will be some limitations. Now is where the environment variables is. So because we don't want it to be stored in GitHub, now we will give this as a secret. So we will copy paste the environment variables. So it doesn't expose it to anyone. So it will be stored in its secret. It's done. Now deploy web service. It's good. That's it. It is, of course. So, like you would have had to do all of this for your front end if Lovable wasn't giving you one-click deploy. So this is so much pain saved, right? So even this is not really rocket science again. It's just, I think, a little bit of familiarity. And if you haven't ever used Python or deployed anything before, you would have had to go back and forth with an LLM asking, hey, what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? But this is like half a day job at best. Right now we are doing it in 10 minutes, but otherwise, if for anyone who doesn't know, it will be half a day job. So it's deploying, it's building. Let's see if it throws any errors, and let's try to figure out what the problems are. Okay, it's build successful. Now let's see if it will deploy. All we are doing is, if you saw, like we had local LLM, right? It was working. That local API was working, but it's not someone from somewhere else website they can't, because it needs access to your machine. So we are just trying to replicate the same functionality that we had locally in remote or in server. So it's running this some build command. Let's see if it works. Unicorn running. Oh, nice. It worked. I'm surprised actually, because it's not supposed to. Okay, it's running. It's all good. Let's test it out. Let's see if T3 chat told any way to test it out. Okay, instance free. Give your open router API key in environment variables. Click on create web service. Render will now pull your code, run build.sh and start your application using the start command. You can watch the logs in the logs tab. The first deployment might take a few minutes. Now testing your deployment. Once render says your service is live, which I think it did. It said your service is live. Uh, all you need to do is copy the URL for your service from the top of the render dashboard, like TSA checker API on render.com. Okay, this is the one, TSA checker API to on render.com. And copy this and paste it in your terminal command. Okay, let's do that. Amar, you had a question?
I'm just curious how it figured out the port. Like you just gave an environment variable for dollar port, and I have you mentioned it somewhere?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I think these are all the default settings from what I know.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, yes, even though I know Python, these are the things where I'm not as good at. I don't even understand a lot of these things like ports and build functions and all of that. Yeah, for initial stuff, you don't need to, but I think once it gets serious, once the service gets more and more users, you need to start understanding a lot more. So let's put the cursor command. It's saying like do this. My service is like here, API-2.on render. So like I just need to change that. And let's see. So again, there is no local. This is actually hosted on this website called onrender.com. So I'm not like doing any local. And I'm giving this endpoint called check item, and I'm giving the item name as aerosol deodorant. Let's see if it works. This is just a terminal command, just trying to ping that server. We did. Let's see. Yes, it gave the output true. Yes, you can take true, but then there is some restrictions, I believe, like, you can only do that. So service is working. This is good. Now all I need to say is, let me copy this curl command and the backend is good. Now let's go back to the front end. TSA backend, TSA, where is the front end? This one. So this is the front end. Let's pull changes. Git pull. So now it is in sync with Lovable. So let's go and add. So I say like, okay, so far we have only mock data. Now I want you to remove the mock data and fetch information about an item from a backend service. It's all there. Now I just give the curl command, so it will figure out how to ping that, because the curl command already has like the API call and endpoint and and anything, what the input style is. It's all that. And it's saying I'll help you replace the mock data with real API calls to backend service. Let me first examine the current data structure, and it will go search and it will do everything. Okay, you can do all you want. So it's also testing just to kind of understand what the structure of the output is, so that it can change the UI elements to display that output. Uh, so it's saying like, okay, like all of that it's getting. Let me test another item to get a better understanding of API response. Okay, test it. It's using knife and it's false, checked back true. Okay, it understood the input, it understood the output, it understood the API endpoint, all of that. Now it's going and changing the front end to do all of this. It created a new file with structure around what the output is, what the kind is, Boolean, string, and interface. It's doing all of that. It's all like click, click, click. Just accept, accept, accept. Found some errors, it will go and fix it. So you can kind of extrapolate how this can become complex like it became in Garden Genie, right? You can see like little by little, okay, the back end, the front end, you make those edits. So let's accept. There are still more errors, I believe. So let it fix itself. Yeah, so even in the Garden Genie, it was quite simple at the start. It was like, hey, if you give a plant name, it will give some information about it. That's all it was. And slowly you add features one by one, one by one, one by one in the back end and the front end, and slowly make it more and more sophisticated.
How long did you develop the app, Genie?
I think
Or
it took me a weekend, like a full weekend for like to get to a good stage. But every time I get a new idea or I want to make changes, it's been a month, I believe.
yeah,
But the pretty much 80 to 90% of the functionality was over a weekend.
that's impressive.
And this is the exact workflow I used, no different. So it's saying I need to update this search bar component to remove the suggestion functionality since we are now using API. Okay, can do it. Okay, it did a bunch of stuff and it's like saying it wants to delete a file. Now let me remove old, it's removing the old mock data. Mock data is basically that sample data that we had in the front end. Let's accept that. And it's like, let me test the API integration by running local. Again, it's trying to create a local server for the front end. And it wants to test out. Okay, sure. Let me accept all in the meanwhile. And it found some errors and it's trying to see. Let's see if it figures out. So it's testing itself, which is good. The data directory is empty. Let me check new services directory. Model providing invalid arguments to the terminal tool. API with simpler command. Let's see. Okay, it's getting a response. So it's fixing itself. It's like, hey, why the hell is something not working? Where are we on this? Are we on the right project? Yes, we are. Okay, it did something. It's happy with itself for now, and it's giving us all the things that it did. It created an API service. It updated search. It updated item results so that it displays the output properly. It removed the mock data. And now how it works, you just need to enter the search item. API call is made to the endpoint that we created on render. Loading state is shown, and these are the key features. So this is why I really like Claude for Sonnet. It's much more expressive and helps you understand as and when you're doing. All of this is good. Nice. Let's see and push changes. So these are all the things it changed. So let's add everything. So I'm gonna say like adding API connection, and then I'm going to push changes. So I'll push. So let's go and see in. So let's see in the front end whether that's there. Front end. If I come here, yes, it's here. Adding API connection. Now let's publish it. Okay, project is updated. Not this. Not this. Not this. This is the one. Okay, let's say let's some other item. Anyone suggest an item for it to fail?
How about a guitar?
Guitar. It's not coming. Okay, let's ask cursor. Uh, let's remove all the context stuff. Let's say I'm not finding any results. When I type an item, it's just showing me empty results. Let's see if it knows anything. I mean, if it works on a first try, then that means you're screwed for the long run. If it doesn't work, then you're good. You're in the right path. So it's saying, okay, let's see. It's trying to send guitar and it's getting its answer. And now it's wondering, hey, API is actually returning. Why is this the problem? So there must be some front end problem. So it's checking this and then it figured out, oh, the issue might be course related. Does anyone know what course is? The most painful thing ever
Yeah,
in the networking development. Amar, would you explain? Do
I
you?
mean, I don't know the complete context, but I've seen this error when I was working. I think I've only seen this on the browser. If you
Yeah.
go to browser console, you could see course error.
Exactly, that's right. So let's go here and let's inspect element. This is a little too technical, but if I go to the
Yeah,
console, you will see like all these errors. It's not able to fetch. That's because like there are so many security things when browsers try to access some API from different. So the server, like render, it needs to permit access from someone else. So otherwise, like people can just DDoS stuff. They can just like keep pinging and they'll crash the server. So render by default doesn't allow anyone other than direct API call or like something to allow. So now we are sending calls from some website called some carry on clarity guide dot lovable. So why the hell should render accept it, right? So that's the problem. Uh, So it's saying like, oh, it looks like there is some problem. Okay, let's go and try to find something. It's saying, okay, you can fix yourself. Uh,
But shouldn't this be a fix on the backend?
yeah, it is. It is. Let's see like what it does. So it's saying, let me update the API service to add better handling and logging. Okay. So let's stop. So what we can do is we can just say like, go back to the backend. So we are here. Let's go to the backend, TSA backend session. This is where our file is. So we can create a new chat. Say I will get, oops, I am getting CORS error. I am trying to access the service on render from this app. What should I do? It's trying to do all of this. You can see that you have this. Now I'll fix course issue by adding the course middleware configuration to your fast API. The solution is to allow cross origin requests from your Lovable app domain. Okay, so it's done all of that. Accept. Next step. Now deploy the updated code, test the connection, and do all of that. Okay, let's save everything. Now push the changes to GitHub. Um, so it's pushed. Now I go to render. This is my service. I just say like, hey, deploy the latest commit. When I click on the latest commit, now it should again start building it and deploying it. But if I click here, well, let's see whether it came. Okay, that commit is added here, so that's good. Let's see if it works. What was the thing that broke this? Guitar. Okay, let's see if the guitar works.
So when we deploy backend through render,
Yeah.
do we need to do anything else in Lovable or
Nope. That's why it's a completely different thing. So
okay?
front end is separate. All the connection between them is just an API call. As long as you are not changing the structure of the API call, maybe now you have a different endpoint or
Got it.
different input structure. You don't need to change the front end.
Okay, awesome.
It's built. It's deploying now. Already have good news. Let's see. Any other questions while it deploys? So I want to get perspective of Ashish. What do you think? Like, do you think all of this is like a little too complicated? The backend deployment. As a product manager, let's say they want to build some basic service. Do you think this is a good enough expectation that they need to slightly put this effort and do it?
Yeah, like it's more than good, man.
Okay.
Used to be very complicated. Like I've focused mostly on front end. So
Yeah.
back end is something even new to me, but
Yeah.
like, it does not seem that complicated the way you're doing. Like a few errors and checks will happen. You're doing it live.
Yeah.
More than comfortable. Like even I can try my hands definitely.
That's nice. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so looks like it worked. So technically we don't have to, update the front end. We just updated. So there was an error when API call was being made. It was saying, hey, I'm not going to give you any answer because I don't know who you are. Now we told it, hey, like if something comes from Lovable, accept it. And now we push that change. And now when we say now it should accept it because we made the backend change. Let's go back to this. Let's try guitar, enter again. Moment of truth. Looks like it's working. Yes, it's here. Awesome, right? This is good. Now you can, I don't know like what board, I guess. You can. Oh, it's not allowed on carry on. It must only be in check bag. Shampoo. It's searching. It's good. You can take it, but as long as it is like 3.4 ounce. Let's say guitar. It's again, you saw like it ran again, and unnecessary API cost for us. So this is where we will integrate with Supabase. So this is going to be like, yeah, this is the database. I showed you how Garden Genie was. There are tables and all of that. And you were like, oh, did you actually create all that connections, and did you name the fields? Did you select with it, whether it's UUID or Boolean or string? I didn't do any of that. Now let's see how we can actually do it. So let's go and create a new project. We will say TSA test or something like that. Oh, tastiest, nice. Okay, let it be. I'm gonna. Okay, let's create West. Oh, North Carolina. Oh, California. Okay, good. So I created a project called Tastiest. Now let's go and add, integration. Basically, what we will do is, as soon as we get API response, after we display to the front end, we will tell it, hey, by the way, why don't you just go and store it as well? So next time I don't want to, keep querying API. That's what we're gonna do. Does anyone know what MCP is? Has anyone heard of it? I'm sure you would have heard of MCP. Can anyone explain what it is?
Can't explain, but I know what it is. Model context protocol. Basically, you could uh, show a surface for the world
Yeah,
for what your LLMs are generating.
yeah, yeah. So quick example for that is, for example, let's say I ask, uh, you can ask any question, right? What are black holes real? And like existential questions, like, or what is the value of human life and things like that. LLM is amazing at that. But if I ask, uh, what stock price of Apple, it will be stunned. It will be like, what the hell? But something like this should be quite simple, right? Let's see. Maybe it answers. Who knows? Um, Yeah, it said as of like Friday, whatever, because I think Gemini is like much more live. But let's say if I just take, I don't know, like DeepSeek, something like that. I do the same thing with a normal simple LLM, which has like time restrictions. It said like, oh, like my knowledge was this, and it's not. So what if we can give like access to some API, stock price API to this LLM? What it will do is LLM is going to, oh, I can't answer it because this is not a knowledge thing. People might be expecting like live thing. What it will do is it will go and query that API, and it will return you the answer. So that entire protocol of how LLMs should interact with APIs is called model context protocol for more deterministic output. So all it is again, it's a protocol. It's kind of like, it's very similar to API. How humans, like API, there is, oh, this is the endpoint, this is the input, this is the output. So just like how API has some protocol defined for humans or developers to use, MCP is pretty much the same. It will have like list of um, all the functions that it can use and what it means and what it can do, what is the input, what is the output, what all of that. So Supabase has MCP. So what Supabase has is, all we need to do is we need to kind of like say that, hey, the server is at this place, and we need to give our authentication token to it. As soon as that happens, Supabase will expose like a bunch of functions, like create database, add column, edit column, remove a row. And LLM will figure out, let's say if I ask LLM, hey, can you add a new table? LLM will figure out, oh, Supabase has this function called as create a table. Maybe I should use that. So that's what it's going to do. So let's see that in action. So I'm going to say, this is great, but after every API call is back from open router, I want to store it in a Supabase DB. Can you do that? use Supabase MCP. It's saying Supabase, so let's try to help it. So it's a new chat as you saw, and it's figuring it out. I've already configured MCP server here in my cursor. In my cursor, I gave address. I gave Supabase address to cursor saying that this is where it lives. And I also gave it my personal access token. It's very simple. You can search on LLM to understand how to add it. I actually forgot where it is. That's why I'm not trying to show you. So it's saying like, you see this? So it's saying, okay, I'll help you integrate Supabase. Let me first check what projects you have because it has to, like, let's see. Okay, now it's trying to call a function called as list projects. I say, okay, run it. And it got some error. I see that you have 2 projects available, but looks like TSA, or let me check the tables in both projects to see which one would be most appropriate. So it's not even asking me for a project name. I mean, to be honest, I can provide it, but let's see it struggle. So it's getting tables from both, and it's like, oh, it looks like the first project is focused on gardening. So of course, it's not the one that is relevant. It looks like tastiest might be the one. It appears to be empty. Maybe you're developing it right now, so maybe that's the one. Okay, cool. And then it created like a table called as create TSA API logs table to store whatever, and it's getting project URL. It's getting all the functions. It's getting the keys. And it's like, perfect. Now I'll modify your fast API application to integrate with database. I'll need to update dependencies. And isn't it so amazing, like how powerful this is, like that you don't even have to create the database and add it like using MCPs. Before you would have to go create it, add add-on keys and like inside Supabase, for example.
I was about to ask if not for MCP, how would you connect
Yes.
the cursor and Supabase?
So I would first have to go here and write statements, create table items, all of that. And I would have executed that, and that would have created the table, and then cursor I can ask. So from here, right, whatever is cursor is doing from here, it would have done it otherwise. It's saying like, okay, let me add this API, Supabase API, so it will store it and all of that. But I didn't even have to do all of that. So if I go and see here, let's see tables. See, it's already there, the TSA API logs. It's saying item name, carry on, check back. So it's a Boolean description is a text created at response time. So it created the table for me. I don't even have to uh, create that structure. It created by itself. Amar?
So is it your cursor that determined the column names, or is it MCP on Supabase that did that for you?
It's cursor because it's the LLM that understood that, okay, user is asking this and I can use this function. What is missing? Missing thing is, okay, I need to create, the user has asked to store it. What does storing mean? Storing means that storing the LLM output. So that's why I checked the LLM output again, just to kind of be sure. And it said, okay, it has item name, it has all of this. So I need all of this. So it's all LLM that is actually figuring out, not the MCP. MCP is literally a tool call. That's all it is.
So did it run like an example call locally to see what's going to be the format of the output and use that for creating the table?
So it has the context in main.py. So it has the context. It knows like what's coming from the JSON file. It knows what's going as an input. And here I think this is the apply migration. I think this is where it is. If you see, this has the create table function. Create
Right.
table TSA API logs, IDs, UUID, gen random UUID, item name, carry on, and all of that.
Nice.
So it's all there. It's all like, let's accept everything. And it's saying like, okay, do all of that. So just like how we push changes, we will push again. So we have some added changes. I think there is test API. Why the hell? I don't want a test API. Do I need test API? What is this? View logs. Query and view logged API calls with stats. Test your API with, I don't need all of that. It's fine, but I'll just add it. It's not a big deal. Add Supabase GTP and it's done. So let me go to render and not connect. I'm going to deploy the latest commit. So this is what you need to do. If you have pro version, it will do by itself. Every time it finds a new commit, it will deploy itself. It will push. But because we are in poor people thing, so we have to we have to do this. It's fine. Uh, it's building. Why is it taking? Uh, we are right on time. We are like pretty much we are done with the full stack application. We'll make a couple changes, but 15 minutes. Uh, Anything like any thoughts or things that you found interesting?
Quick question. So, does it figure out to when to call the API, when to pull it from the table, or are we gonna still do that part?
Uh, yeah, we will have to do that. It doesn't figure out
Okay.
because the logic for when to do front end or back end sits in the front end, right?
Got it. Yeah.
Not the back end. If we could have done it in the back end as well, we can say like, hey, when you get an item from front end, uh, rather than calling open router, check in Supabase first. If it's available, just return it. If it's not, then we can do that in front end or back end. Like,
Okay.
we can do that both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Satish.
Logistical question: will you be sharing the recording? There's a lot of good stuff again. Thanks for that. So, I don't think I have followed it 100%.
Okay.
It's more because I'm just starting. I think I would say this is my day one.
Okay.
Probably. So yeah, will you be sharing all the recordings?
Yeah, I will share.
I think like my favorite part is just doing a lot of SQL is to have someone else do that for me. It's like pretty cool.
Yes, I think it's having some trouble doing something, I guess. I don't know why. But yeah, technically, like even if we stop now, I think the session is kind of done because we've fully pretty much like plugged everything and done a bunch of stuff. So yeah, why is it taking so long? Shouldn't. Yeah, this is the only worst part about developing. Like who would have thought that waiting for something to deploy is the most. Because like even you don't have to type anymore. Like I said, I don't type as much anymore. I use the voice dictation, which is so much faster and much more much better way for me. But come on, why does it need to clone again? Let's give it a sec. Let's cancel it. Otherwise, love and cancel. Let's see the latest commit. Is it there? Yes, it has add Supabase. And deploy latest commit. Let's see. Or maybe it's because of those new additional files. I guess it shouldn't matter, but oh, it's faster now. Yes, now it's working. Good. It's reinstalling all the new packages that we put in requirements.txt. There's an error. Good. I don't have to worry. I'm just gonna say, I think there are some packages with dependency conflicts and all that. That's an easy conflict for this, I guess. I don't know why. Unicorn. Nice. I like it. Perfect. Okay, now let's not run here because we are not creating any local server anyway. Sorry. Try to, should be there. Let's check if it's pushed. Let's check here. It's pushed. Let's deploy again. Once we see results, once we see the actual results in the database, we will be considered done. There's no new project.
Also, yes, Sandeep, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on render, how much is the space for the free tier? Like, so I had this issue when I was trying to deploy on other free platforms. So when it tries to install all the Python packages, it kind of unpacks all so much or
Yeah.
takes up so much space. So how
Yeah.
does it work?
I don't know exactly. I think for simple stuff it should be good. But from what I heard, if you're feeling that render is like way too less, I heard Google Cloud has like a really generous uh, version. So you can, I mean, you can deploy APIs very easily on Google Cloud. It's much more complicated. You can't do it through GitHub or all of that. You need to copy paste files and all. That's the problem. That's why I didn't use. This is so much easier, right? You just push to GitHub and it will sync by itself. But Google Cloud has a very generous tier. You are not going to run out of whatever the free tier for a very big application too. So I would suggest you do that. Okay, it's doing. I think it's run. It's deploying. It's running. Perfect. Now your service is live. That's what I want to see. Now let's go back to the front end. Now let's say guitar. Okay, we can. It's still working. It didn't break anything. Now let's go to Supabase tables. Guitar is right here. So that's amazing. So this is what we want. Now let's say let's go back and say guitar again. Let's go here and refresh it. Now it's storing again. This is what we don't want, right? Uh, Of course, like it's a little different because LLM is not deterministic. Every time it's different. So we don't want it to keep storing. Let's delete this. And we can just ask right here. It's a new feature. So let's new feature. Rather than querying open router every time you get a call, check in Supabase first. If there is an item, then retrieve it and send it back. If it's not there in Supabase, only then make open router call. Don't tell me you didn't listen. Anyway, but it's going to be a small addition on top of that. It will make changes here that it will store to Supabase. It will directly check in Supabase first. If it's found, it will give. If it's not, then only it will make API call and it will store again. So you need to deploy it again to render, and it will make things much more smoother and efficient. Um, yeah. Am I still sharing my screen? Okay. And I see. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So that's where we are. I think that app is good. You can that's an actually now a usable app for people to look up items on TSA. So we had the front end from Lovable, back end from deployment in render, but development in cursor. Supabase has the DB. Pretty much the anatomy of any big app is going to be something like this: a front end, a back end, and a database. And yeah, you have like kind of scaffolding on how to make all of it work together. So that's the main aim of this session. And I've been using this for creating a bunch of websites. It's so much faster now. Um, yeah, now like now once you build apps, you will find how difficult it is to market it and make people actually use it. Before you would be like, you don't even get there. You're always like, oh, it's building is the hardest problem. Now building is the easiest thing. Marketing it and finding a good idea and proper product market fit and all of that is going to be so much more difficult. Like, yeah. So that's where I think we need product managers and many more product managers and marketing people to kind of like sell all these new age stuff. Yeah, so that's it for the session slash workshop style. Hope you guys liked it, and we still have like I think 7 minutes. 7 minutes. So you can ask questions or yeah.
I just want to say it's a really good session, man. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes.
It's really good, Sandeep. I think you saved probably like 8 to 10 hours of us going to each and every app and exploring what it can do, it cannot do. Because I feel that's the main pain, right? Like once like it's hard like if I open LinkedIn, there are like thousands of apps everyone is posting about. And it's
Yeah.
good to know which one is which one can do what. So thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's always like definitely, follow people on Twitter, people who are building, and the more you follow them and the more you like and retweet, I think the feed becomes much better. Even on LinkedIn, if there is something, I think you can always try it out, especially with the help of LLMs, you can try out more. And yeah, it's good to keep track, but if you have a project in mind, right? For example, I have Garden Genie, so I use it as a crutch to learn new things. Like if something new comes, I go and see like, hey, how can I improve this website using the technology? Is it actually better? Get a feel of it and get a whole, um, yeah, whole temperature of the whole new technologies and workflows. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you again, Sandeep. This is really great. I got to know. I never used Cursor.
Okay.
I've never used, I mean, most of the things other than maybe Lovable or the models for just chatting, right? For getting some code help and so on. But
Yeah.
this is really great. I was first time, I was attending an interview with Walmart.
Yeah.
So for the experimentation part, I just wanted to refresh my knowledge. So then I saw a video, the
Yeah.
data science with Jay or that channel, right? So
Yeah.
that somehow helped me to, crack a interview with Walmart. I'm part of Walmart now. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've been following you, but this is really great. Thanks for connecting this session. And
Awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
I hope you guys actually build some apps and like share it with me. More than
Yeah.
happy to say it. I think someone had the Berlin movie thing. Like I'm very excited for
Yeah,
that. I think that's a great idea. So I look forward to your website.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. It was really useful and really helpful. Also, I learned a lot of new stuffs like OpenRouter.ai, and it was something that I actually used, but I didn't know. So, really useful. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Yeah. Keep using these and share on LinkedIn or share DMs with me if you find anything cool and like if you make anything cool. I'm more than like it's a great time to be a developer or like just a maker, right? Not even a developer, just a maker and builder. So yeah, so I look forward to all your stuff. Yeah, that's great. I'll share the recordings. Um,
Thanks, Sandeep. Are you planning to do more of these?
I don't know if anyone would be interested, to be honest. I think I've exhausted my LinkedIn network. I think I'll see. I don't know. I think so there are so many things that you can give kind of like workshop style things about, but I felt this is a very good stack to kind of make a tangible product using some technologies that relatable to a lot of people. I'm thinking much more like I don't more data science stuff. I feel because I'm a data scientist by profession, so I want to explore much more deeper and see how life of data scientist can be made easy, what to use, what to you not use, how to follow. But I don't have any other ideas for as of now.
You have our emails, right? So I follow you on LinkedIn. So, but it's kind of it's hit and miss. Like I may not actually see your post when you actually post it, right? So do you? I think it would be nice if you're doing, say, a data science stack or something on data science. I'm super interested as well. If you can send an email to, I think that would be awesome.
For sure, yeah, I will.
And also, I just wanted to suggest, we should continue to engage. We learn few things, right? If
Yeah,
someone has a new idea, to optimize the whole workflow, right?
yeah,
Then continue to engage. Maybe we can connect back to learn that thing, where we'll fix the particular part in the workflow, which may
yes,
optimize further, right?
for
So
sure, yeah,
I
yeah,
think, technology is transforming every day while we're speaking,
yes.
it's changing something, right?
Yes.
So we should definitely learn from each other. But this is a great forum. Thanks, Sandeep. Thanks,
Yeah,
everyone.
awesome, Jyoti. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Guys, it was a nice session. I
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed it too.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Sandeep.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye bye.